return with a New York or New Jersey native, Manson Newham, the man that everybody wanted after the Olympics, probably during the Olympics as well. Let's go a flurry of punches. You made it with Bob Adam. He's got Andre Ward as part of his management and advisory setup. Good thing or a bad thing. Andre Ward, obviously a clever, good work here from Stevenson. Mendoza, maybe a little bit of a sit in the garden. Carter Crawford took on Felix Diaz. He's already, like Conlon, getting a little sample, a little taste. Oh, big left hand. Oh, he hurt him. The elbow came down there from Mendoza. Oh, good shot into the side of Mendoza. No, he brought the right elbow back down. The elbow came down. Space elbow. Started to get tuned up a bit here. The ref has seen enough. He walked.
But during that stare down, he did not want to make eye contact. What does that tell you?
You know, Richardson.
It's not nearly as good as you get confident.
Oh.
And there's a left hand that put Riley back. And now Riley.
You can hear his corner anything you want to do now. Yeah. Oh.
Nice. And the southpaw looking at close. The right hand gets Riley off his kilter. Riley trying to spike back.
Nice by that. And Dale killed him.
And Riley's down. Why wouldn't he?
Stay composed, young fella. Stay composed. Mama. There goes that man. That's the man I've been looking for all night.
You want to let him go. Boxing, you're 5 years old. Usually you can stay on the right.
He doesn't look intimidated by Stevenson at all.
Just as you said that, he hit a straight left hand. And then a combination. And down goes Mosquito. Just like that.
Knockdown off at all. In Las Vegas.
Straight left hand. A shotgun.
Because it is different. It's a lot different. You can see right there, they're mixing up their legs. And it's not easy to fight a left-hander if you don't have a lot of experience painting him. Try to draw him into another left hand. Good right hand, but a body's down again.
Back downstairs, a stunning left. Oh, cracker of a shot. Shakur Stevenson. While he was down, that's what the warnings were. And Mosquito's about to go down again. It's over. Shakur Stevenson as they throw in the towel. It's over.
Listen, when I'm promoting fights, there's loss in that gold medal fight.
In his past few fights, he looked like a bulldozer.
21. I'll never forget that day I lost the fight. Hit a punch in that first round. 1 of 13 compared to 22% landed on 51.
Quick.
4-punch combination.
Definitely slow down and discourage Gonzalez.
Soon, and Oscar Valdez is coming back, not getting hit. And Valdez knows for the ropes.
Bernardo, what can you tell us about Rosales right now?
Aldo Cortez told me that maybe what Tim Bradley was observing.
Oh, knockdown scored. Left hand from Stevenson. He is flat on his back. Here in round number 4, struggling to get up. Does he have his feet under him? Early pitch has to assess him here. He's still wobbly. That's it. That is a TKO. As Rosales could never gather him.
Check it out on ESPN December 14th at 9 Eastern.
You know, southpaw versus the right-hander. You're going to get some, some stepping on at that. Good work for Stevenson. Look how.
Nice combination punching there from. Whoa, the trip there.
Defeated for a reason.
Nice combination. What the interaction's going to be in a minute and 25. His body reacts impressively. Have the tools to deal with a man who wants to be known amongst the best in boxing history. Today was the first step in that direction.
Just sublime. It's so accurate. Yes. And there is that power. Oh, that right hand was clipping. He drove that right hand down, and now Stevenson has Caraballo in trouble. Left hand today. Repunching.
He wanted to get on the outside to land that backhand.
non-title fight at 130 pounds for Stevenson. First week of the shutdown.
Coming to terms with and not
So it truly is really well for the Caraballo with the outclassed, outskilled, and he goes down here in round number 6, halfway through round 6, and he's really in pain.
Number 1 mandatory contender.
Kenny Bayless having to put his foot down a little bit.
Look at him.
A little extra hungry. Maybe because he's tough conversation and you'll see what.
Oh,
Way to sit knows that his only chance now is to get a knockout. Might as well try to go for broke.
that's fighter. And you can see both guys feint and go. Feint and go. He may get hit in the process, but he's got to, if he came here, believe, draw him in. Cool. They're right up.
Bah, got him. Right hook scores the knockdown. Reporter, Shakur incomplete yet. He also went down in the 4th round.
Feint, you get a reaction from Nakatila. Every time
Stevenson in complete command.
he's fighting to see who can get his foot to the out. See the posturing from Nakatila. The posturing.
Halfway through the final.
Shakur Stevenson.
All right, and we are live. What is up, YouTube boxing family? It is I, Kieran Rodriguez. I'm here back with another good Fighter Ratings Live, number 3 for the one and only Shakur Bam Bam Stevenson, coming out of that Newark, New Jersey, and I believe Shakur is what is his record? Hold on, give me 1 second. We'll go get that. Yes, Shakur's record is currently 18 wins, currently undefeated, 9 knockouts. He fights at the super featherweight division, but for those of you that don't know what his original status is as a world champion, he became a world champion at 126 pounds, in which that's where he first started his career. He is currently 24 years old. He's out of Newark, New Jersey. He started his career back in 2017 as of April 22nd of 2017, where he had scored a technical 6-round decision victory over Edgar Brito. And as far as his his progression coming into the professional rankings, he had won his very first world title against Joet Gonzalez, and whom at the time was undefeated. He destroyed him in a 12-round unanimous decision victory, in which originally that belt was formerly held by his recent opponent that he had defeated, Oscar Valdez, in which he is now the current WBC super featherweight and WBO super featherweight unified world champion, in which he cruised Valdez to a 12-round unanimous decision. But Shakur's resume, he is a former 2-division world champion. He's held the WBO belt at 126, and now he currently holds the WBC and WBO belts, both belts in which Shakur Stevenson had taken titles away from former world champion Jamel Herring, that had held the WBO belt for quite some time at 130 pounds, and now Oscar Valdez after unifying the titles. Shakur is 5'7". He is a southpaw. He has a 68-inch arm reach. He was out of Newark, New Jersey. That's where he was born. And I believe he is residing out of Alexandria, Virginia. Not too sure about that, but that's subject to change if anything is different. But yeah, Shakur Stevenson, he has a 50% knockout ratio. He has over 18 fights. He's boxed over 115 rounds, and he is a very, very technical, sweet science driven, pure boxer puncher type of southpaw. More of a pure boxer, but that's soon to come with this fighter ratings. Um, yeah, like as far as like what I'm gonna just be covering, same thing as from last night for where we covered on Dimitri Bivol. We're going to be covering the eye test, boxing ability, and then ring IQ, and then defensive ability, and then chin, the ability to take a good shot, and then footwork, and then power, and then the intangibles. And for anybody that wants to come in and chop it up with me, the link is here. No trolls allowed. Family is only allowed if you guys want to come through and just talk boxing with me. So just sit back and enjoy the ride. And I'm definitely looking forward to having some fun to break down on Shakur Stevenson. So yeah, let's get right into it. I'm probably not going to have this live on for no more than, I'd say, like 45 minutes. So should be pretty quick. I don't think anybody's going to come on, but if any of you guys want to come on, feel free. I will let you guys in if you are definitely somebody that I recognize. But yeah, let's get right into it. We have the very first topic, the eye test. What do I see out of Shakur Stevenson's abilities? You know, if you're coming from like a casual perspective, based off of the eye test, I would give him a 9.5. Shakur Stevenson has generated a pretty good amount of talent throughout his career, but based off of like just a casual view of just looking at him off of his most recent fight, he's very very technical. Likes to be very very hyper aggressive now. Has very very good punch placement to generate enough respect in his opponents. And Shakur Stevenson, he's just such a very intelligent fighter to the point where you could definitely give the man his credit for what he's done, for boxing. And I would say honestly, like if you were to see it just from like a fighter's perspective, you can see that Shakur Stevenson meets all the categories of what he's done for his career. And he's done some very, very good things. Shakur, he's definitely made himself look more of a more polished, fresher fighter. Um, I wouldn't want to go so far to say that Shakur is like a Floyd Mayweather because he likes to put himself next to Floyd, and I think the only reason why he does that is because of how he looked up to him. Oh, and also, I forgot to give credit where credit is due. Shakur Stevenson was a former United States Olympian, where he had competed in the 2016 20 the 2016 Rio Olympics back in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, in which he had unfortunately lost a gold medal match, finals match against Cuba's own Robesi Ramirez, who was a two-time Olympic gold medalist, if I'm not mistaken. So not bad. I mean, Shakur had been touted to be the victor, according to most people that had thought he had won that fight. But knowing where his progression is in the professional rankings, he seems to have way more success in what he has done in the pros versus in the amateurs. He got severely robbed. Shakur, he's a very, very good fighter, and knowing how he wanted everything to be, shaped in his own world view of him being successful in the amateurs and coming right into the professionals with a high level of success with his Olympic pedigree. That was good to be true, but I think everything that he's gone through ever since as a amateur leading into the pros, he has shown a very very good high level of ring ring superiority as far as developing his skill sets and his his potential as a fighter to be to be notable in his respected divisions, to be that high level IQ fighter. So I say for my final answer, I would give Shakur a 9.5 on the eye test. Um, Now for the next topic would be the boxing ability. I think Shakur, he has great boxing ability. I think he's done enough to prove to the boxing world that he is good to hang in there at a pure boxing level. He obviously has like a little, like a couple of holes here and there where he can work on some stuff, but he's definitely done, a very, very good job with developing his skill set to the point where he doesn't really need that much improvement, and he's he's good, to where he's able to know he's able to know what he wants to do in order to be successful. So for the boxing ability, I would have to give it a solid 9.85. I think that's a pretty fair mark. He has great boxing ability, knowledge, but he has like a little bit of tweaks that he can do here and there to be at the level of, displaying his abilities to be like high level. So he's definitely there. He just needs to work on a couple tweaks. Like especially when he gets into those very very difficult fights. Like a Gervonta Tank Davis or a Devin Haney or maybe a Frank Martin at 135 or like anybody that we could think of leading into the future where Shakur will end his career at. So I would give it a 9.85 for the second topic. Now, for the third topic, this is going to be very interesting, which will be the ring IQ. The ring IQ, I would definitely give Shakur a solid. How should I say? I would give it like a 10. I think his ring IQ is good enough to display how much knowledge he has, in the game. He's not dumb when he gets into, unnecessary exchanges. He definitely knows what he's doing. And, he definitely has, such a good knowledge to make those quick and fast, adjustments to make you feel so ecstatic and surprised that he's actually able to do that. um, but I would definitely say his ring IQ is definitely there. But I think like once he's matched with like higher level opposition, that can be subject to change. But I say as of now, based off of the competition that we've seen him in, like the Oscar Valdez's of the world, Jamela Herring's, Joette Gonzalez's, Christopher Pitufo Diaz, um, just B level competition. I mean, like it's really nothing like S minus or S plus level type of superior level competition where those guys are like like the rarest of the rarest breeds to be like the most destructive, dangerous level opponents. But I think based off of what we've seen from his ring IQ, I definitely give it a 10 out of 10 just based off of what I'm seeing. But that's my final answer for that. And then I would say for his footwork, yeah, I will talk about his footwork. His footwork, I would say I'm going to have to give that a solid 8. I think Shakur's footwork is good enough to get away from most of the shots that people know he can get away from, but his feet is sadly like not the fastest feet in the world. He can definitely move. Don't get it twisted. It's just that the problem with Shakur Stevenson is that he's very comfortable with how he's able to move from the shots that he can see. So I wouldn't say he's like dead, like dead in the mud type of footwork, super duper slow. He can definitely move, but he's not like perfecting his pure boxing ability with his footwork to be like hyper flashy and being able to move up move off of his toes and be like super duper ecstatic with like his level of fighting. So footwork, I would definitely have to give it a 8, and I think that would be subject to change when we start seeing him in there with a guy like Gervonta Tank Davis, a Devin Haney, let's just say a I don't know, like anybody that we can think of, anybody at 140, anybody at 135. I think Shakur knows what he has to do to make himself, how should I say, that man of the division. But I think Shakur, he has like a good hyper ceiling on where he needs to go. But I don't think his footwork is actually there to really compete at a high level. But he's still able to use his feet to the best of his ability to hang in there. So for me, I would say the footwork would have to be a 8 out of 10. See now, I would say if he were to be very hyper flashy off of his feet, he would definitely do a good job. But the problem with Shakur is just that he's not being tested at a very difficult level to like be forced to be put into that position. But I think sooner than later he's going to have to be put into that mindset. But I think eventually things will have to, basically get better with what he has to do. So I think he'll definitely prove us wrong when things do come to that point. So I would say for footwork, that is definitely a 8 for now. See now, defensive ability. This is very, very interesting. I would have to give Shakur's defense a solid 9.5. Am I saying his defense is superb? Not really. I mean, Shakur's defense can definitely, be improved, but I mean, most of his shots that we've been seeing him take are just like little pity pat shots and like shots that aren't really like hurting, with a, destructive, mindset. So I think his defense is pretty good. I mean, some people would try to argue to say, well, his defense ain't that good, blah blah blah. Well, I don't really think of that to be the case. It's just that, Shakur, he's not really, showing us what he's been doing as of lately to be at that level of defense. But I think as of what we see now, of what we can judge off of, Shakur has been doing a very, very good job with prioritizing the defensive strategy to be successful in those, potential exchanges. So I would definitely give Shakur a solid, how should I say, 9.5 for the defense. He definitely can, slip and slide away from the punches, but I don't think his defense is absolutely garbage. It's actually like, A tier if you ask me. Um, I just think based off of like what we've been seeing out of Shakur, it's definitely the defense that is expected out of him, because he's definitely doing his job to make sure he's there to not get hit, and he is mastering the sweet science as we speak. So he's definitely getting better with the defensive ability. But yeah, that's my final answer. I give it a 9.5. For the footwork, The footwork, I'm going to have to give. Oh wait, actually no, I've already gave that a rating. I said his foot. Yeah, I said his feet was an 8. So yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, yeah. His chin. Yeah, his chin. The chin. I would definitely rate his chin to be a solid. I'm gonna have to give it a 10. I don't think Shakur has really ever gotten like super duper hurt, and I mean he's been slipping from a lot of like hard heavy shots from guys that have given him trouble. But I mean, nothing to the level of like him being that type of dude where he's like super duper hurt here and there. Like Shakur actually knows he actually knows like what he's doing in a fight where it's not even like expected out of him to actually be you know caught with something in a fight for him to potentially lose the exchanges. So I think like I would say for his chin, that's definitely a 10 out of 10. Shakur has done enough to keep himself at bay to not eat a lot of heavy shots. But I mean, like, for guys like Christopher Pitufo Diaz, guys like, Jeremiah Nakathila, guys that do have a little pack a punch, he has taken their best shots. And, like it seems like Shakur, he's able to hang in there with guys that can actually give him some trouble, with some heavy shots, but he's definitely shown he can he can withstand those type of punches um within a certain period of the fight where while he's being defensively responsible, he's not having to eat as many hard shots. So I would definitely give his chin rating 10. I think he's definitely been that type of fighter to, definitely be there to take a fight, whenever it has to get hot. But I think he's definitely there to actually bang with you and actually give you some trouble. But yeah, Chin is definitely a 10 out of 10. Now, for the next topic, we have power. This is a very questionable because some people say he does have power, other people say he doesn't have power. See, now for the power, I'm gonna have to rate it a solid. You know what? I'll be generous. I'll give his power a 8.5. I don't think Shakur has like one shot knockout power. He has what some people would call it very sneaky power. The type of sneaky power where he's stealthy with it, and he basically hides those flashy punches from you, where he's able to like generate enough pop to like actually get you the respect in a fight where you're not able to hurt him as much, but he's able to hurt you at the right time. So he has good pressure shot power where he knows where to hit you at the right place at the right time. And I think that's going to help him come or help him go a long way because Shakur, he's so heavily gifted in using, the proper punch placement to win a fight just to get scoring points. But he's not no like Gervonta Tank Davis or a Deontay Wilder type of fighter where he's going in there to actually to actually hurt you. So I think based off of his power, I would definitely have to rate it a solid 8.5. He can definitely crack, and I mean, within his last 2 fights, or I'd probably say 3 fights, because I don't want to use the Jamel Herring fight as a good example, but he did hurt Jamel Herring several times, in that fight, and he could have easily dropped him or definitely go for the knockout. But Shakur was being very, very economical in that fight. But his power was definitely shown in the Jamel Herring fight. And I mean, power isn't really just supposed to be rated based off of how many good shots that you can land to knock somebody out. Power is basically there to show how much respect that you can get from your opponent by keeping your opponent up and off of you for you to win. So I think that's where a lot of people misconstrue power, because they say like power is basically based off of like you going for the knockout, but I don't really see it to be like that. I think it's more to do with how much punch resistance your opponents can take due to your power, and how much respect in that fighting situation, where somebody can measure you based off of how much pop you have to keep a person off of you. And if you can knock them out, then good. I'm not saying like if you don't have no power at all and you can't keep a person off of you, but you still have a little bit of sting, then that's not power. That's just that you have like I would call it feather fisted hands or pillow fisted hands, where you don't really possess like the shots of a very destructive, type person. You just have like the very minimalist type of, little stings here and there to like to keep somebody up and off of you, but eventually, your stamina will wear you out, and then your arms won't make it as strong enough for you to like actually have some steam behind those punches for you to be successful. So I would give his power a solid 8.5. Shakur, he's definitely proven that he can hit. He definitely dropped Oscar Valdez. He dropped Jeremiah Nakathila, in which many had thought that was his worst fight, but he still got the job done. And people want to say he was boring, but Jeremiah Nakathila proved that he's a heavy-handed guy, and he was trying to throw his best shots at Shakur, but every time that Shakur landed his best shots on him, Nakathila was almost getting hurt to the point where he could have been stopped. So I mean, Shakur has great punch placement, and his power is definitely up there. I'd say it's very similar to a Gary Russell type power, but I want to put Gary Russell in that same category as him. I would say his power is like on the Pernell Whitaker-ish, type of power. So I think that's where his school of boxing is, heavily gifted in. But power is definitely a 8.5. See, now for the next topic, this is going to be tricky, but it is the intangibles. Um, I think as far as the intangibles of Shakur Stevenson, he has what it takes to be the greatest fighter of our generation, or one of the best all-time greats. But I think the problem is that Shakur Stevenson, where he's at now with Top Rank, I think he really needs to look at himself in the mirror and ask him, if I want to be great like a Floyd Mayweather, you have to take some serious sacrifices in your life to make sure you get up to that level. Because people can say, like what they want, about you, but the problem is that if you're not able to display it at the high level, and you're not able to be financially independent for you to move a certain direction and actually do the things that you want to do, then that's what's going to hold you back at the end of the day, because you're supposed to be the biggest name in boxing. See, now, I do think Shakur, as far as a intangiblest, like type of, like, how should I say, the intangibles that I would rate Shakur is that he's a very, very gifted person. But the thing is that can we still keep that same energy when he fights those difficult names one day, like a like a Gervonta Tank Davis or Devin Haney or shit, maybe even Teofimo Lopez. Teofimo Lopez could potentially give, Shakur problems. Or maybe a guy like, I don't know, Frank Martin, Keyshawn Davis. There's plenty of big fish out there that would very well want to challenge, Shakur one day. But I think that the biggest issue is that nobody's not really calling for some of these matchups where, guys that we haven't even heard of could very well give Shakur Stevenson problems. And I'm not so sure of where we could see that one day, but I think eventually that day can very well come because, Shakur, he's always been saying that, he's afraid of losing. He doesn't want to lose, ever again. In which, that's a good mindset, but I just think that when you get put in there with somebody that's going to test you, and then we have to rate your, intangibility, we don't know what's going to happen to you. We don't know how you're going to respond to somebody that's going in there to actually be deadly, towards you. And I think that's where the Shakur Stevenson, mindset will start to give us a better view on how we see Shakur grow as a fighter. Because I think Shakur, he is, the goods. I think he can easily take over multiple divisions. And hey, if he could be like another Floyd Mayweather protege, obviously not like a Floyd Mayweather, then I'm perfectly fine with it. But the problem that I have is that if you're going to stay with Top Rank the entire way, then I think that's a really crappy decision because I don't think Top Rank will be your best bet. I think the PBC or any other network that comes about in the next coming years, they're going to be giving you the most money. And I think that's where Shakur needs to, sit down and just, understand where things are going to be headed. Because if you're not going to get those opportunities with Top Rank, then I think Top Rank is going to do you dirty. And I think sadly there's going to be some form of, financial corruption to the point where Shakur, you know, like sadly, I feel like Shakur will be treated, a lot worse, compared to Terrence Crawford in a way. Like I don't see Shakur Stevenson being promoted properly because if it had to take Terrence Crawford to like basically go to Top Rank and try to potentially sue them, and then Bob Arum comes out of nowhere to make this fight between him and Oscar Valdez, then how can we believe Shakur's words? Like of him saying that he wants to be undisputed at 130, and then after that he's gonna move up and then challenge Chu. Whoever whoever's gonna take the vacant belts, after the winner of Cambosos and Haney gets done. I just think honestly, like his mindset is very very good. Like I like what he's doing, but I think Shakur as a fighter, based off of the intangibles, I would have to rate it a solid 8.75. I think he's good for what he can show, but I think what Shakur needs to do, he needs to show us now rather than showing us later, because Shakur, he can fight his ass off, but the problem is that if you can't show us your high level skills against the high level people sooner than later, then I can't really respect that out of your intangibility, because your intangible skills would have to be determined based off of what you can do, as a fighter to elevate yourself to the next higher higher list of all time greats. So I would probably rate it a 8.75. He's definitely one big hell of a talent. It's just that Shakur, he has a lot of growing to do, and I think he needs to display it now rather than waiting later. Now, last but not least, we have the strength of resume. This is going to be a hard one to swallow, but I think like it's fair for me to rate him, like this. But I would say his strength of resume would be a solid. Hmm, I'll probably say a solid 8.25. Uh, like I know that some people, like will probably say, nah, man, Shakur beat, Oscar Valdez and Jamel Herring, and he beat Joet Gonzalez. He has a pretty solid resume, man, and that's a very, very good high level, um, high level list of opponents. But the thing is that all three of those guys that are his most credible wins, they aren't fighting guys that we see on the mainstream of fighters. Like a Joet Gonzalez versus Gervonta Tank Davis at 130, he gets blown the fuck out. I don't care what anyone says. Joet Gonzalez was not calling for Tank's name when Tank was a champion and before Tank was ever to become a champion, and he was keeping his mouth shut when Gervonta was even trying to go down to 126 and actually fight. But then again, he was getting bigger, so that's where Joet Gonzalez just kept his ass at 126. Then again, Joet Gonzalez never wanted the smoke with Gary Russell or guys like Jojo Diaz. Why is it that Joet Gonzalez, out of all fighters, out of the entire 126-pound division, was never calling for any high level names other than just waiting for the WBO belt to be surprisingly vacated by Oscar Valdez because Oscar Valdez did not want to honor his mandatory to Shakur Stevenson. So Joet Gonzalez was forced by the WBO to fight Shakur, or else he will lose his spot as a next up mandatory title contender. In which he was basically a fill-in opponent to fight Shakur, because otherwise Shakur would have beat Oscar Valdez at 126, and then Shakur would have moved on to do other stuff, but obviously he wasn't able to do that because he wasn't able to make 126 comfortably all the way through. So Shakur Stevenson decided to take that route to go follow Oscar Valdez from 126 after beating Joet Gonzalez all the way up to 130. So I mean, what the problem is just that Shakur, he's fighting whoever is being put in front of him, but at the end of the day, it's like Shakur Stevenson has plenty of other options he can go for other than just trying to stick around at a weak division, to which I think 130 is very weak. I don't think 130 is actually that supremely competitive. I think most of the talent is now moving up to 135. So I personally think 135 and above, that's where the competition gets a very, very difficult and very challenging. But I think 126 and 130, it's still popping. It's just that, the money is not as big as it once was because, guys like Gervonta left and, guys like Lomachenko, he left. And who else? I mean, there's plenty of 130 pounders. Obviously Miguel Burchell. Even though nobody gave two shits about him, but he's gone. And I mean, there's just plenty of talent that has decided to move up to 130 because the smoke is actually or to 135. I'm sorry. The competition from 130 decided to move up to 135 because money opportunities and then the competition was actually a lot better at 135. Oh, hey, salute to you, Mr. Shelton. Thank you for coming by. I appreciate it. But yeah, I mean, honestly, man, like Shakur's resume, it's good, but at the end of the day, it's not like Hall of Fame type resume where he's been in those like super mega fights. And I think like that's yet to come with him and Gervonta Davis, Devin Haney. I mean, I can list like plenty of names that I would like to see Shakur face. I think Shakur, he should very well face. Well, I mean, aside from 130-pound division for unifying his titles to become undisputed, and which I like to see him do that. Like I want to see him get undisputed, but I don't think that's something that people really want him to do. Like I think from a marketized standpoint, he's better off just moving up to 135, and then he could just do what he has to do to actually like get the big fights. But I mean, like from like what I heard is like Javante Davis, he could potentially move back down to 130. He said if he's able to, he might want to go down to 130 and face Shakur if he's able to do it after he defeats Rolando Romero. So I think that's very, very true to do, and I think he can do it, and I would like to see it, but that's subject to change. Mr. Shelton says he'll get them sooner or later. Yeah, like I think so too. Like I think Shakur he'll definitely get up there. It's just that he needs to like understand the business like behind it, and I think he really needs to like leave Top Rank once those opportunities are offered, because Top Rank's going to like try to lowball him. He's gonna want to ask for like 10-15 million dollars, like to which I don't see him pricing himself out. But let's just say Shakur wants to double his money to be that big high level mega star fighter. Obviously, he's gonna have to take some risk behind it, but I just think based off of how everything is being strategized, I think Top Rank is trying to like marketize them to be like a Floyd Mayweather ish Top Rank fighter star, but I don't see that being such a great thing, because it's like Top Rank is not forking in all these like mega millions for Shakur. Shakur's probably getting paid well, but he's not getting paid like Floyd Mayweather type of money where he's banking in like 50 million or 100 million plus dollars. And I mean, like, I'm pretty sure, like, in today's boxing market, just to see like two big megastars fight, that's such a rarity now, because it's like nobody's not really fighting each other. Number one, and number two, there's just not a lot of, how should I say, like, there's poor marketing in like all promotional stables where not everybody's getting their shot to fight each other all at once, so that way we know who is like the best fighter in all divisions. So therefore, more people can bring more money to those fighters that deserve to be up there, as a high level, grossing athlete. So I mean, I think that's subject to change. Like, I think what the biggest stars right now in boxing would be, Devin Haney, Errol Spence, Javante Tank Davis. I'll put Shakur up there because he does sell, he does bring a crowd, but he's not like selling like mega millions type of money to people. It's just that he's still developing as a up and coming rising star, but his path to superstardom is going to be such a difficult path to go. But I think Shakur's growth is just getting better and better. Mr. Shelton says it's not like the 80s. We fought each other when they were in their 20s. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, that's a perfect example. Like, guys like, Tommy Hearns and Sugar Ray Leonard, they fought each other in their early 20s. And look at how great they were after the wins and losses, between everybody. Like, I mean, Wilfredo Benitez, he beat Roberto Duran. That was like one of his biggest victories. He won the WBC Super welterweight title, and he was just a beast. He's only been stopped like what 4 times, but the man can fight, man. But the five kings of boxing back then were just taking over everybody. But that's what I think is going to happen with like all the Black American talent that you see right now, like guys like Shakur, Devin Haney, Keyshawn Davis. Who else? I think Floyd Schofield. He's going to take over. I think just so many guys that you haven't heard of that is just on the come up right now. Jaron Ennis, he's gonna take over. Maybe Gary Antoine Russell. I don't see his ceiling to be that high. I think he has a lot of climbing to do, but I think he'll be up there. Who else? Like Brian Norman Jr. I think Brian Norman can easily wash a lot of fighters. Um, who else? Man, there's just so many fucking names, man. I think David Morrell, he's gonna take over. He can easily sell out arenas. He can easily take over a lot of people. Just a whole bunch of talent that we haven't heard of. Black American or Hispanic talent. Obviously minus Canelo, but just like any internationally global fighters that we haven't seen before, they can easily take over the American market, and that's gonna just splash. I think 2022 is definitely coming out to be such a good year because like we obviously have Charlo Castano too. I will be making my podcast episode number 2, where I'll be talking about Charlo Castano too. So I'll definitely give you guys the update when that episode comes right down, and yeah, I think that's going to be a very interesting type of fight, in the rematch. So, but yeah, as far as the strength of resume, man, I'm definitely rating his strength of resume a 8.25. He definitely deserves it. I don't think it's good now, but I think later on, that's gonna be high up there to like the 10. Definitely 10 out of 10. But as of now, like it's definitely like B minus level or B level. So yeah, so just give me a minute. I'll be calculating the scores right here, and then we'll get up out of here, and I will say my goodbyes to all of you. And yeah, like I think honestly, like this is a very good contribution for Shakur Stevenson. I think Shakur, he's a heavily growing talent, and I think he's gonna take over everybody, man. Like I think Shakur has it, and I think Shakur can just give everybody a run for their money, man. Like I don't see anybody really like giving him that many issues, but I think his ceiling as a fighter is just that good enough where we have to just see him in there with like all the top names now. Like I think Shakur can barely edge out a guy like Devin Haney, but knowing how Devin fights, I think Shakur's style will be very destructive enough to beat him. But I think those will be the type of fights where it's going to be 50-50 matchups. It's not going to be like weird ass matchups where Shakur he's favored to win. No, like it's going to be like those type of fights where Shakur is going to be in like those make or break situations. So I think Shakur's ceiling is very high. He's such a good, heavily talented fighter, and I just respect the living crap out of him, man. Hold on, give me 1 second. One, two, three, four, yeah, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right. All right, let's go. Oh wow, whew, wow. I don't know if that's the right rating, but all right. Yeah, we will. Wait, hold on. Let me recalculate that. I could have done that a little bit wrong, but I am not too sure if that is the right rating I can give because I could have done like the calculation a little bit wrong, but I'm gonna try that one more time. Yeah, hold on. Yeah, 10, 8.5, and then 8.75, and then yeah, 8.25. All right, so I'm going to divide that. Yep, by 8. Good. All right. Yeah. All right. So I actually got the right number. All right. So we have the final number and now final score for Shakur Stevenson. Give me 1 second, ladies and gents. Um, Shakur Stevenson, he comes out to be a 10.29. Uh, I find that to be very surprising. And I think I did a good job. Like my ratings were pretty decent, pretty solid. But yeah, that's my final rating. All 8 of my scores were at least 9 or a little bit under 9. Like I only had like 4 scores for 8s, but like I had 9.5 for number 1, 9.85 for number 2, number 3 is 10, number 4 8, number 5 9.5, number 6 would be number 10. Yep, and then number 7 was, oh wait, actually hold on. Hold on. I gotta definitely like redo that. I'm sorry. Whoopsies. Sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. Yeah. Hold on. Oops. Sorry, guys. That was actually the wrong number. But give me 1 second. I have to just recalculate that. I forgot to put down 9 instead of 8 because I wasn't thinking about the math for the median. So hold on. This will be quick. All right. Yeah, because I knew that there was something wrong. I forgot to put down 9 instead of you know 8. So yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, this will be quick because now I actually understand like what I did wrong. So yeah, let's get this. All right. Yeah, good. There we go. All right. I actually got the score. All right. So Shakur Stevenson officially comes out to be a 9.15. I'm sorry. Yeah, he is now a 9.15. That was my corrected mistake that I forgot to do. Yeah, because I calculated the 9.5 to 9.85, and then hold on. Yeah, 9.5 to 9.85, and then plus 10, and then plus 8, and then plus 9.5, and then plus 10, plus 8.5, and plus 8.75, and then plus 8.25, and then divide that by 9. Yep, 9.15. Yeah, so yeah, that's actually pretty good. Shakur, he's a A minus level fighter. Definitely, that's definitely worth a good rating. I think that was good, like good enough for me, to do that. So yeah, like I definitely appreciate you guys for coming through. Um, I think that was definitely worth the show for me to come on here and just give out my brief thoughts on Shakur Stevenson. And yeah, like until next time, guys. Like I appreciate you guys for coming through. This is a good show. Unfortunately, like I wasn't able to have a panel on, but like it's all good. Like I don't really care so much about that. I just care about the love of content and the love of the sport. So I just try to do what I have to do. So yeah, I appreciate you guys for coming through, and I will definitely come back with more content for you guys. And yeah, I can't wait to see another dominating performance by Shakur Stevenson soon to come. So yeah, let me know how you guys had it. Like if you guys think that I could have given like a different score for Shakur Stevenson. And yeah, that's pretty much it, man. So yeah, be sure to hit the like button and share the video. Do what y'all got to do. Salute to the mighty LDBC. And yeah, man. Like I'll be back on sooner than later. And yep, I'll see you guys later. Peace out and have a good night. And thank you. Bye.